Alright kids, now it's time for number 10 in my video game movie review series. Have I really already done 10 of these? Angelina Jolie's back with quite possibly the most popular video game movie to date at the time. And I didn't care much for the last one, so let's see how this one goes. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. Stars Angelina Jolie returning as Lara Croft and Gerard Butler in an early role. This time around, Laura's trying to retrieve an ancient box that if it falls into the wrong hands, could mean really bad things for the world. This is the part where I usually give a bit of a synopsis of the story. I'm not really going to do that because who really cares? The basic storyline here is not that far removed from the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Bad guys want a thing that could change the world. Lara Croft goes after a thing that could change the world. They go back and forth throughout the movie as to who has it and who knows where it is. And in the end, they come together and fight to see who gets it. I wonder who. Now, if you've seen my review of the original Lara Croft Tomb Raider, you know that I found it pretty boring, dated, and ridiculously unbelievable even within the confines of its own world. So going into this one, I was kind of expecting the same thing, especially with this movie's history. People shit all over this movie. If you ask people about these movies, they'll usually tell you that the first one's pretty good, but the second one's just laughably bad. But seeing as how I don't always agree with what everybody else says, how was it? Really? It was actually pretty fun. As a whole, the movie just moves a lot faster than the original, and the story's a lot tighter and more fluid this time around. Now don't get me wrong, this movie's still just as ridiculous, if not more so, than the original. The biggest difference here is that this one embraces its ridiculousness. It pretty much takes the ridiculousness of the first one, injects some fun into it, and just goes with it. It's kind of like Fast 5 with the Fast and the Furious series. Fast and the Furious 1 through 4 were okay, and they, for the most part, tried to play it straight. But when things really got great with that series was part 5, when they just let all that seriousness go and embrace the ridiculous. That's kind of what this one does. It doesn't try and play it serious at all. It just goes with the crazy. I think that was one of the biggest downfalls with the first one, is that it did try and play it straight to a degree, and all that ridiculousness just really contrasted with that. But with this one, they just let loose and are able to have a good time. And it shows, and the viewer has a great time as a result. The performances in the movie are pretty much what you expect at this point. Nothing great, but nothing terrible either. Gerard Butler, oddly enough, is a more likable male lead in this movie than Daniel Craig was in the original. And Angelina Jolie does a fantastic job as Lara Croft. Even better so this time around than she did in the original. She seems much more comfortable and confident in the part this time around. One thing the original does have on this one is the villain. The villain in this one is okay, but he's more or less pretty generic overall. Nowhere near as colorful as the guy from the first movie. But I'll take an okay villain in a much better movie over a much more colorful villain in a shit movie any day of the week. The action and stunts in this movie are much more believable this time around as well. Well, kinda. Believable's not really the word. It's all really out there, over the top, and ridiculous. But believable within the confines of the world they've created, yes, it's much more believable. That makes it fit into the movie much better as well, which was one of my big gripes about the original one. All that just didn't fit into this world they created. But in this one, it works. Laura doesn't seem like a superhero in this one. She just seems like a badass. As with the first one, this movie had a lot of money behind it, and you can definitely see that on screen. The sets, locations, just really everything on screen looks great. Except for some of the CG. That's definitely one place the first one does have this one beat. Neither of these movies are really huge CG movies. However, this one does use more CG than the original one did. And the CG of that time just isn't up to snuff with what they were trying to do. And while the practical effects and the sets and everything around just look great, most of the CG stands out like a sore thumb. It's still not a ton of CGI, but when it's there, it's in your face, and it's definitely noticeable. Though there is one scene near the beginning of the movie involving a lot of CGI that is just absolutely great. The CGI is not great by any means, but what happens in the scene is absolute gold. It's Lara Croft and a shark. And yeah, you'll know it when you see it. It's great. It's bad. It's real bad. But it's so great at the same time. A lot of the scenes still seem like they're just set up for ridiculous action set pieces, but that's okay this time around because the ridiculous action set pieces are actually fun. And that's what this movie should be, is fun. And it is! At the end of the day, The Cradle of Life is just more fun than the original. It's overall just a better movie. It gets shit on by people a lot, while those same people will turn around and say the first one was great. And I don't get that. I mean, if you're gonna shit on both of them, okay, I get that. But how do you say this one's terrible compared to the first one? The first one was just boring as hell. While this one, yeah, it's no Shakespeare, and it's no fantastic, great, life-altering film. It is fun, and that's what movies are supposed to be. fun. It has a more interesting story, a much more satisfying ending. Most of the characters are more likable this time around, and it doesn't take itself too serious and has a great time doing it. At the end of the day, Lara Croft Tomb Raider is a good time and absolutely worth checking out on Netflix. It's not a great movie, but it's absolutely enjoyable enough and fun enough for the evening. So there it is, guys, my review of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. So what's next? Oh God. No.